Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Vogt, welcome.
Thank you, Senator.
In my judgment, I do not know a single person in Washington or outside Washington who knows more about the federal budget than you do. I used to read your suggestions during President Trump's first term, many of which Congress ignored. We shouldn't have. I am delighted that the president picked you. I have read that since 2019, the population of America has increased 2%, and our spending has increased 55%. Under President Biden, I wish him well. If we had discovered life on Mars, he would have sent it money. Is that sustainable?
Senator, it's totally unsustainable, and the problem is that you go on these trajectories that we are currently on, and you don't know when you're going to get to the point of which you have some major problems as an economy, as a country, and we know that historically.
I hope you'll start with the low-hanging fruit. There's a lot. When we sent out stimulus checks to save our economy, $1.6 billion went to dead people, and the checks were cashed, obviously fraud. OMB has estimated that in fiscal year 2023, we sent out $1.3 billion of checks to dead people, which were cashed, obviously fraud. When you die in America, your name is sent to the Social Security Administration. As you know, you become part of the master death file. Senator Carper and I discovered that Social Security would not share that information with any other department of government. So we passed a bill saying you have to share it with Treasury and other people who write checks, so we'll stop paying dead people. Duh. We got pushback, believe it or not, on the bill. We had to agree to a trial period, and that trial period ends in 2026. Will you help us make that program permanent so we can...
Today, we're diving into one of the most fiery and eye-opening Senate exchanges on federal spending you'll ever see. Senator John Kennedy pulls no punches, and what unfolds is part comedy, part outrage, and 100% truth bomb. Trust me, you don't want to miss this. Right out of the gate, Senator Kennedy gives credit where it's due, praising the nominee for their budget expertise, but then he flips the script and drops a bombshell. Since 2019, our population's up 2%, but federal spending, up 55%. He even jokes that if we found life on Mars, President Biden would send them money. Funny, but kind of terrifying when you think about it. And here comes the kicker. Senator Kennedy exposes a massive failure in government oversight, $1.6 billion in stimulus checks sent to the deceased, and those checks were cashed. How does that even happen? Turns out the Social Security Administration wasn't sharing death records with other departments. Even when they passed a bill to fix it, they got pushback. You can't make this stuff up. When asked for help to make this anti-fraud program permanent, the nominee says yes. But then Kennedy drops some real talk. If you challenge the swamp, they'll call you crazy.
Served in Washington for years. You're going to be challenging the status quo. You're going to be called crazy. Many people also called Noah crazy. And then the rains came. And all the fact checkers died. You have to persevere. Now, I'm not asking you to get ahead of President Trump. I'm asking you to persevere. But if you were king for a day, tell me how you would save money in the federal budget without impacting the American people.
Thank you, Senator. I think it's the strategy that we had in the first term, which is to go really and take a very close look at the agencies that are spending and wasting money, and I believe weaponized at times against the American people. When they put a 77-year-old Navy veteran in jail, Joe Robertson, for 18 months for building 4 ponds on his ranch to be prepared for wildfires, that's the EPA. I think we have to look at that, and we have to look at the agencies that Congress has a vote on every single year through the appropriations process. And then I think we need to go after the mandatory programs that Senator Cornyn mentioned that are keeping people out of the workforce because they have become not just a social safety net, but they have become a benefit hammock, and increasingly so in the aftermath of COVID, as many of these policies were impacting people's decisions to go back into the workforce. And I believe, and because we produced budgets along these lines, you can get sizable levels of savings and reforms that can lead to a balanced budget and get us back headed in a fiscal trajectory, not only that we would all be proud of, but we could say, this is going to keep us from fiscal ruin.
What would this budget expert do if he were king for a day? He'd start slashing waste, especially in overreaching agencies like the EPA. He brings up the case of a 77-year-old Navy vet jailed for building ponds to prep for wildfires. Yup, jailed for ponds. He also takes aim at bloated entitlement programs that are turning into benefit hammocks. His plan? Audit the whole system, cut where it counts, and balance the budget without hurting Americans. This conversation was a masterclass in plain-spoken truth. Kennedy doesn't sugarcoat it, and we need more of that in Washington. What do you think? Should we be sending billions to dead people? Should more agencies be held accountable? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for watching. If you learned something, or at least laughed at the absurdity, give this video a thumbs up and subscribe. See you next time with more truth, less fluff. Subscribe, stay informed, stay sharp.